This problem is from the 2023 Princeton University Mathematics competition. Feel free to give it a shot and keep watching to see the solution. Okay, so there's a fast way to come up with the answer to this problem, but it doesn't show why this is always going to be the same value. So we'll save that for the end. Let's do the cross product solution first. So what does this problem have to do with cross products? Well, what does it have to do with vectors? Well, if I assign a vector, let's say vector u, like this, what would this expression be in terms of u? It would be norm squared. And we can do something similar with the second equation. I'm going to make another vector. How about the third equation? What would this be in terms of vectors u and v? It's the dot product. Okay, so we were able to convert all of this into terms of u and v, into terms of vectors u and v, and now we have to ask ourselves, can we do the same thing here, convert this into terms of vectors u and v? Well, okay, it's probably going to be norm squared of something. How come? Because we're adding a bunch of squared terms again. Kind of similar to what we did up here, is norm squared. Okay, but what would this be norm squared of? Well, what's being squared? This looks like the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix. Same here, same here. So this is going to be norm squared of the cross product. Okay, so yeah, I'll do this. I hat, j hat, k hat, a, b, c, d, e, f. Okay, so what's the cross product? What am I going to do with I hat? Okay, so it's going to be the determinant of this submatrix. So BF minus CE will go here. And then for J hat, it's going to be -1 times AF minus CD. Okay, and for K hat, AE minus BD. And if I take norm squared of this vector, then I'm going to get this. So that's why this is norm squared of the cross product. So how do we find this? Can we use the information that they gave us? Well, yes, there's an identity for this. It's going to be norm squared of vector u times norm squared of vector v minus dot product squared. Okay, and then this is equal to how much? Okay, so this was 14 times 77 minus 32 squared. And that's going to be equal to 54. This is your answer. Here's the fast way to come up with the answer. So we've got 6 variables, but 3 equations. So we can plug in values for 3 of the variables here, solve the system, and then calculate this. But we need to be strategic about how we do this. Like, we don't want to be plugging in 0 for A, B, and C, right? Because this equation would not hold. Okay, so I still think we should plug in zeros though, because that would make calculating this a lot easier. Let's try A equals 0, d equals 0. So I'm going to make d equal 0 because, okay, if a is 0, then this turns into 0. I don't really want to touch this equation again unless I have to. I'll touch the other ones first. Okay, so d equals 0. So that means this is also going to be 0. And then, okay, one more variable. So, yeah, so if a is 0 and d is 0, we don't even need to calculate this part. So that's why I picked a and d. But let's go for b equals 0. Okay, so we don't need to calculate this part either. So the answer is just going to be c squared times e squared. This is going to be 0 as well. So what does the new system become? C squared is equal to 14. E squared plus f squared is equal to 77. And CF is equal to 32. Okay, so if c squared is equal to 14, c could be the positive square root of 14 or the negative square root. But we only need to find one solution that works because the problem is implying that this expression is always going to be the same. So I'm going to say that c is equal to square root of 14. Okay, so if c is equal to the square root of 14, then what can I say about f here? F is equal to 32 over root 14. Okay, so then I can find e here. So e squared plus f squared. So 1024 over 14 is equal to 77. All right, I'm going to copy this here. Okay, so c is equal to root 14. F is equal to 32 over root 14. And e squared plus 512 over 7 is equal to 77. 77 is how much over 7? Uh, 539. Okay, so e squared is equal to 27 over 7. Okay, so e squared is 27 over 7, and c squared is 14. So these two multiply to 54. This is your answer.